Hi, I'm Dr. Leonard Evans, and I'm going to tell you how to never have a traffic crash. If you've already had one or more, of course I'm too late, but I'm going to tell you how to never have another one. This is a bold claim, so you're entitled to ask, who is this guy making it? I have two unique qualifications. First, I am arguably the world's top traffic safety scientist and have received just about every available award and honor. My 201 publications include 2 books and 42 reviews, sprinkled with such comments as classic and Bible of traffic safety. Second, unlike most traffic safety researchers, I have never been involved in a crash, even after 61 years driving. Average driving for 61 years typically produces 5 crashes. So the probability of being crash-free simply by luck is extremely low. To avoid crashing, it is helpful to understand that crashes are of 3 types: unavoidable, at fault, and not at fault. Unavoidable crashes are limited to such rare events as collapsing bridges, meteorites or airplane components falling from the sky. These are extremely rare, so best to ignore. All other crashes result from driver decisions. They are crashes, not accidents. To avoid being involved in an at-fault crash is simple. Obey traffic law, slow down more than others, especially under adverse conditions. Do not drive when seriously impaired by alcohol, medications, lack of sleep, texting, telephoning, or the like. Devote your attention to driving. Do not unreasonably timeshare. Albert Einstein said that anyone kissing a pretty girl while driving is not paying enough attention to the kiss. Take more care. Do not place much faith in unproven gadgets. Walk around your car before backing to make sure that all is well. It is hard to imagine anything worse than running over your own child in your driveway. Crashes which you are deemed not at fault could be avoided if you had acted differently. For the same severity impact, you are just as likely to be killed or injured. So why play this game? One reason why drivers crash on average about every 12 years is that nearly all drivers think they are safer than average. This belief is reinforced every time they drive without crashing. When a crash inevitably occurs, it is blamed on bad luck or that other idiot. Crashing every 12 years is unacceptable to an airline pilot. Keep in mind that 1% of drivers are riskier than the other 99%. Never vent your anger at the 1%. They pay dearly for their above-average crash risk. Instead, make sure their behavior does not harm you. Avoid them. Use your rearview mirror to make sure you are not followed by a tailgater. If you see one, flash your brake lights or slow down until he passes and seeks another victim. I have often observed a long road section with only 2 cars, one of them tailgating the other. Never be one of these drivers. You can reduce your risk of being rear-ended when stopped at a traffic light. It is easier to spot something moving. As you approach the light, cruise down slowly. If still forced to stop, keep an eye in your rearview mirror. If you see something threatening, flash your brake lights. Another driver running the red light could be the last thing you ever see. So even when your signal says go, still make sure it is safe to go. Aim to keep space around your vehicle. For example, do not choose to drive alongside other vehicles. Either pass briskly or fall behind. Speed dominates safety. For a given roadway, the risk of crashing increases with increasing speed. If a crash occurs, the risk of injury increases with increasing speed. If injury occurs, the risk that it kills increases with increasing speed. A very modest 2% speed reduction from 51 mile per hour to 50 mile per hour reduces fatality risk by 10%, similar to the benefit from a frontal airbag. Reducing speed consumes time. Time is also consumed fastening children into complicated safety seats. Increasing the trip time by the same amount of time through slower speeds reduces the risk to the children and adults in the car and to other road users. Drivers speed not just to save time, but because speeding is enjoyable. Keep in mind that you are controlling a fast-moving 3,000-pound object that can inflict mayhem on people. Pedestrians are particularly defenseless. It is often said that in the USA nobody walks. Yet somehow we manage to kill more than 5,000 pedestrians per year. Lower speeds reduced almost every type of risk. Any crash will cost you lots of trouble and money. It can put you in a wheelchair or coffin, but do not think in such selfish terms. How would you like to spend the rest of your life knowing you had killed or permanently injured a 5-year-old child? Your overwhelming motivation to never crash should make you leave 5 minutes earlier for that appointment rather than rushing to it. The motivation to never crash is central. Some people find the motivation not to crash a strange concept. After all, any crash ruins your day. However, most people agree that they would be more careful if their car was packed with dynamite set to explode on the most minor impact. In my 1991 book, I boldly announced that I'd never crashed. This further increased my motivation to not crash. Think of my enormous embarrassment if I crashed after such a boast. There is yet another motivation to remain crash-free. My wife Wendy and I, with 115 combined years of driving, have never spent a penny on collision insurance. If all other drivers had no collision insurance, you would be safer. Drivers increase risk-taking if somebody else pays the costs of their crashes. Our combined collision cost is from one crash many decades ago. My wife stopped at a red light, was struck in the rear by an illegal driver. Now she knows better. The repair cost was $800, so our combined collision costs average $7 per year. There is much more about crash-free driving on my web and in my books. The big message I want to leave is simple. Resolve not to be that average driver. Instead, enjoy the nice feeling that you're helping reduce the risks to your family members and to others on the road that you will never meet.